So I'm here filming what feels like my 100th intro video, and this is just going to be my last one. It can't be perfect. But I thought I'd share just even why I did this and a little bit about me. So I'm not someone who does things like knee jerk. I'm probably not as spontaneous as I'd like to be, and I do like to really think things out before I do anything. And this process has been going on for me for about 3 years. So normally it doesn't take 3 years to buy a house, and it didn't take me 3 years to get the house. I embarked on a fairly ambitious renovation project, and that's kind of why the process has taken so long. But it's interesting that the renovation is actually what gave me so much insight into buying. And so as I watch, as you'll see here in the background, my, and I'll go ahead and hide this here so you can see, one of the first homes that I visited, I remember my optimism and I remember what I thought I should look for in a house. And I was coming to the process with the experience that I had coming from the United States. And so I freely admit now that I kind of did a very surface level check, a very cursory check on homes because I really didn't have all the information that I do now. I feel like 3 years later, which is nice, that I made a great decision. And I almost feel like I made that great decision, though, a little bit on luck and not so much on just the information. I was price shopping. I did not have a really good sense of comparative values, which is probably the biggest challenge that you run into. And I definitely got caught up in the speculation of things, if you will. There's always a lot of speculation about what's going to happen this year, what's going to happen next year. And honestly, you have no idea. So buying a property based on speculation is probably the biggest mistake that you can make. And you're going to hear a lot of speculation. Prices are going to go up, da, 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 da. Well, that one I have to say is not speculation. Prices will go up. I have watched prices skyrocket in the last 3 years in a way that really surprises me because I knew that prices were going to go up because that's just what they do. But I had no concept that prices would double in some cases. And it's not just the prices of homes, but it's the prices of goods, the prices of labor. Everything's gone up so fast that I'm immensely grateful that we made the decision that we did 3 years ago. There are still really great buys in Mexico. After I finish this particular project that I'm working on, I do intend on buying another property. But now I'm going to buy this other property with the information that I have. At the time, and you can see here in the video behind me, I went and saw some properties that were absolutely stunning, that were finished. I saw some properties that needed quite a bit of work. I've got vision, so I don't have a problem with a property that needs work because I get that the work that I put in means that I'm going to have a property exactly like I want. What I did do, though, is I went into every property kind of thinking, okay, no problem. I'm going to tweak this. I'm going to tweak that. This particular property that you see here in the video behind me is one, or in front of your screen, I should say, is one where I thought, no big deal. I'm going to build one level up and really take advantage of this ridiculously outstanding view that the property had. What I didn't know at the time was that in some cases that third level is illegal. And I didn't know that there would be any restrictions on me for building. I did a couple of things right, and we'll talk about that in the course. I did have an architect come and review every property for me before I started serious negotiations. But even then, I hadn't vetted the architects the way that I needed to. Now I know better. But at the time, it was just, oh, you're an architect? No problem. You've got this degree that you can show me. Come show me what changes you can make to the property. And without fail, everyone basically said, yes, you can do everything and anything that you've dreamed of. And it turns out that no, I can't do anything and everything that I've dreamed of, because some of the things that I'm dreaming of are against code. But that's not information that anyone shared with me until after I got a property. So that's what this course really is for. There are a lot of places you can go and piecemeal the information, which was kind of my second problem. It was the piecemealing of the information. But for me, it was, I was kind of playing like charades. I got a piece of information from this person, a piece of information from that person. Information sometimes didn't line up. Information, quite frankly, changes. And so even within this course, while I'm going to share with you information, when I say do your due diligence, I mean ask the right questions. There's nothing wrong with not knowing, and there's definitely nothing wrong with verifying, but your mission is to know the questions to ask. And if that's all you get out of this course, you will have been successful and saved yourself a ridiculous amount of money, a lot of time, a lot of pain, and heartache. At the end of the day, the process should flow easily. Now, I'm not saying that the process itself is going to be easy. I'm just saying it should flow easily. If you're finding roadblocks, challenges, you're told one thing but not another, dealing with people who are giving you half the information, walk away. Because there's no reason for it to be that hard. I have reached a point now where everything flows very easily for me. I am very specific with everyone that I work with about what I need and what I want. If it doesn't happen the way that I need, either I walk away or I just wait. I am in no rush or hurry, which is probably one of the most important things I can share with you. I've got patience for days. I will not be pushed by anyone to move faster than I am, and I am not going to. It's difficult for me to say I'm not going to allow anyone to slow down the process, because the process does take some time, but I've gotten rid of and past that feeling of, oh my gosh, this is taking so long. It's taking the time that it needs to take, and my job is, quite frankly, to just be easy. So now I'm easy, and I created the course for you so that it can be easy for you too. Now, just so you know, when I started this process, I hadn't intended on creating a course. That was the furthest thing from my mind. I'm not a course maker, YouTuber, nothing like that. Weirdly, I am a very introverted person. I tend to do things and I don't really talk to anyone about it, and I just go about my business. And so a lot of the videos and things they're created because they were created for me. It was kind of one of those things where I was like, oh, it'd be nice to have a video library. About, I think it was around September, so 6 months ago now, I had a series of unfortunate events that had me say, you know what? I need to do a course for people. Because as much as I'm a hyper researcher, read all the books, did all the things that I thought were the right things, I still found myself in situations that are born not from people necessarily not wanting to share the information with me. I recognized that the people themselves I was dealing with all kind of had segmented information. So they were giving me all the information they had, but it was like a puzzle. Everyone had a piece of the puzzle, but no one put the puzzle pieces together. And I thought, this is outrageous. What people need is someone who got to the end of the process, and who at the end of the process can share with you what they should have done differently at the beginning of the process. Someone who's had the benefit of time, a little bit of wisdom to kind of see how everything plays out. It's, I'm sure, quite exciting for people to go through the process with someone, and quite frankly, you just go through the pain. So I'm here to help you avoid the pain as much as possible. Again, have an easy process. If you ask me now, 3 years later, do I regret my decision? Absolutely not. Best decision I ever made. It was, like I said, based on a little bit of lack of information, but ultimately the ability to be here, be secure in my space, to be secure in just kind of a fixed income source, as well as a fixed, property where I don't have to worry about rental prices going up, what have you. Your two biggest expenses in Mexico will tend to be food and lodging. And lodging is that place where it'll go up fairly significantly. And if you're on a fixed income, that's a bit of a problem. You find yourself being someplace very affordable at first, and then later on finding out it's not so affordable. Another thing that was a kind of a side unexpected benefit of renovating my house was that I lived in different places while my house was being renovated, because at times I couldn't be there while there was dust and all kinds of fun things going on. That really gave me an opportunity, quite frankly, to always go back to my place and say, man, I love it here, because I know what it means to live further away from a center. I know what it means to be very close. I know what it means, transportation and kind of all the little life things that you don't necessarily know if you haven't lived someplace first before you buy. So that's why we're here. I'm going to share with you everything that I learned, obviously from my experience. The caveat is always going to be do your homework, ask several people the same questions. As I mentioned in the real estate video, if you haven't had a chance to see that, go ahead and go see that on YouTube. I am all about transparency, and that's why I don't make referrals or recommendations. I want to be able to, and I wanted to be able to do the course and just be honest with you. I didn't want to have to think about, but I'm giving a recommendation to this person, or I'm referring this person, and so I want to send you there. I am not trying to send you anywhere, quite honestly. I don't even promote my city in the videos. If you happen to reach out to me and ask me, I'll let you know what city I chose for my house. But the city is largely irrelevant. The principles are what matter. At the end of the day, where you choose to make your home depends very much on you. And I'm not in the business of promoting any one place or city or what have you. So that's it. This is going to be my final, intro video. I am going to be sharing this. So at the point that you see this, it'll probably be a week or two after, or maybe if you see it much later, a week or two after I put up the course. It is February of 2023. And at this point, as I mentioned, I've gone through the home buying process. I've gone through, obviously, the home selection process. I had a wide range of criteria in the beginning, so I was willing to go with a home that was already complete. I was willing to go with a new home. I was willing to go with a fixer-upper. I was very, very open with respect to the process. I ultimately decided to go with a fixer-upper. And with the fixer-upper, I've made I basically gutted the whole place and started fresh. And so to that, even though this is a home buying course, I am going to share with you a little bit about the renovation process, because that should factor into your decision when you're doing your numbers and your math. How much is it really going to cost me to renovate in terms of the dreams I have? What's the cost? What's the time, etc., so that you can really make an informed decision. I'm happy, I have to say, with my choice. I'm happy in my city. Every day as I sit on my terrace and I look out on the mountain, I feel this great sense of peace and joy. I don't have a clock. I watch the sunrise, and I know where it hits the mountain at a certain time of day, depending on the time of year it is. And that's how I know what time it is. The peace that I have gained from this process is immeasurable. And that is what I want to share with others. There are definitely horror stories. I've spoken to a good number of people with horror stories. In some cases, they can't be helped. I've spoken to people who found out that their house was on a historical site. As they were renovating and they dug up their floor, turns out they were artifacts. Well, when there are artifacts, you have to call the Historical Society, and the Historical Society has to come and dig out the artifacts in a way that maintains and preserves them. And so now any plans you had for a timeline are just out the door. But at the end of the day, you can always say that they were historical artifacts, obviously, in your home. I've had people who I know who bought new construction who are there 6 months in only to find out that they've got foundation problems and water problems. The list kind of goes on, and you can't, I guess you can't, what's the word I'm thinking of? You can't avoid everything, but you can be prepared for anything. And that's where I say you want to really do your due diligence. The final thing I'll leave you with is getting your home, buying your home is much more than just the home. And this is, again, critical. The city you live in, the town you live in, the municipality you live in, all of that factors into the home. The noise level, what kind of noises are okay with you. And this is Mexico, so bottom line is there are going to be some noises. Either you've got cars, you've got chickens, you've got dogs, you've got neighbors. Somebody is making noise somewhere, somehow. Where you choose to live is going to determine the noise level, right? So what noises are you familiar with? What noises are okay with you? What's your tolerance level for noise? So even when we talk about purchasing a house, purchasing your home, purchasing your condo, really know that it is not just about the space itself, but the 360 around the space. So that's it. We're going to dive into it. I'm going to share all the information that I have. If you'd like to consult with me, talk more, chat with me a little bit about what you're thinking of, your budget, negotiating, things like that aren't covered in the course. And I really do try to cover everything, so I don't expect a lot of you to reach out to me. You'll have my email on the website. You can email me. We can set up a time to talk, no problem. But I definitely recommend that you take the course before setting a time to speak to me. I would say that 90% of your questions will be answered in the course. And the good news is because I've gone through this very recently, this is very updated information. Things tend to change very fast here. So, even sometimes I'll read a book, and I've read countless books, I can't even tell you. And it was written, let's say 3 or 4 years ago, and I find that the information is inaccurate. And it's not that the person was writing inaccurately. The information was good for that time, but not necessarily good for now. So, join me, take the course, take notes, buy a notebook, get a notebook so you can take down lots of notes. And at the end, if you have questions, like I said, feel free to send me an email. I'm happy to help and respond. And enjoy your Mexican dream and your Mexican dream home.